Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening as we call this 24th regular session of the Mayor and City Council to order. We're going to have the invocation given by Councilmember Emily Keller, and then the pledge to the flag. If you would please all stand and join us.
Today, may we be open to others' ideas and beliefs, respectful of our differences, not threatened by them. May we grow in understanding our own motives, knowing that people often act out of their own fears. May we be a force for replacing fear with insight, helping us all to be patient and kind as we speak. Strength, real strength, can always find compromise. Working together, may we find common ground and enable us to move forward with a shared purpose. May we see what is truly important and unites us, focusing on that to banish roadblocks of ego and fear. Today, may we be open to others' ideas and beliefs. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and on our efforts here today. May we act wisely and well. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Some quick announcements. We'll be following the rules of procedure that were adopted by this administration on December 20th of 2016. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, please mute it. All correspondence and distribution to elected officials should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the clerk for inclusion in the official record. The next meeting dates are October 3rd, 10th, and 17th are all work sessions at 4 p.m. October 24th is our regular session at 7 p.m., and there'll be no meeting on October the 31st. We have some guests with us this evening. Come down here. I'd like to call up, if I could, Bryce Reynolds and Porter Boss, and Jonathan Harris and Craig Boss. You guys can come up front here with me, please. These guys are getting their citizen badge in the community, right? All right. And they're from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'm going to give you one of these, and I'm going to give you one of these. I'm going to turn around because that young lady wants to. All right. And I'm sure you guys, unless you've lived on the moon, have heard of this young man. I happen to know him personally, and I happen to be very good friends with his father. We've known each other a long time. And Aaron Brooks has done wonderful, magical things, and I'm sure a lot of thanks go to Coach Slick and his dad for all the training and those kind of things. But Aaron went to wrestled in the Cadet World Championships for ages 16 and 17, held on September 4th through the 10th in Athens, Greece, and came back a world champion. So if I get Aaron up here along with his parents and whoever else wants to come, it looks like we've got a good crowd. You're all welcome to come up. I'm going to put my specs back on because I can't read without them. But I have a certificate of special recognition. And it's from the Hagerstown Mayor and City Council. We would like to recognize and congratulate Aaron Brooks on his recent accomplishment of claiming the 76-kilogram World Wrestling Championship title at the Cadet World Championships for ages 16, and 17, held on September 4th through the 10th, 2017, in Athens, Greece. In addition to his prestigious accomplishment, Aaron, a senior at North Hagerstown High School, has had an extremely successful and impressive wrestling career. He has won 3 Maryland 4A, 3A state titles for the North High Hubs. Additionally, each year he has emerged the champion at the National High School Coaches Association Wrestling Tournament in Virginia Beach, Virginia, winning titles in the freshman, sophomore, and junior divisions. Aaron is currently the #1 ranked high school wrestler in the country.
Woo!
In the country. At 170 pounds. No way you weigh 170. I weigh 170. Well, no, I used to weigh 170. The City of Hagerstown commends you for your hard work, dedication, and determination in achieving your goals. We also thank you for proudly representing Hagerstown, Maryland, and the United States of America on your quest to attain the World Championship title. As you celebrate your accomplishments with your family and friends, please accept our congratulations and our best wishes and our sincere thanks. Can we all gather in for the photo shot here? We got. Coach, we all in?
As far as I can tell.
You see about as well as I do, apparently.
You get one right here. Good smiles on 3. 1, 2, 3. Take another one. Looking good. Last one for good measure.
I'm gonna hold this.
There you go.
Good old.
Perfect. Thank you. We can get Coach up for one too.
Coach?
And John. Adrian, you want to put your phone down? All right, right here on 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Come on, boys, come on, guys. Jaden, come on. Come on, Derek, come on.
That's shy, huh?
Come on over here. Come on over here. Right here, Jake. Here you go. You wanna hold this? Hold that for me, will you? Hold it out. There we go.
He hasn't had those kids in a long time.
Thank you, buddy. You got that? Yeah, they're going.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Aaron, just for the record, where do you go to school again? That's right. Just want to make sure we do that.
Office is here for him.
Thank you.
Thank you all, congratulations.
Oh, she has something for me?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You want-
You should probably bring it back on.
We'll do it in the Burhange room. Hey, Aaron. Aaron, can you bring Senator Cardin's, please? Yeah, I'm sorry.
In Holland.
Van Hoff, Senator, I'm sorry.
It's my
Yeah.
fault.
Thank you. Make sure your people.
Yeah, sorry.
Nikki, I'm sorry.
It's Nikki.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Nikki Frierson, and I am here on behalf of U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, who, after hearing about Aaron's amazing accomplishments, wanted me to bring along a senatorial citation. And this is not just professional for me, it's personal, because I know Aaron's mother. We used to live right down the street from one another, and I know pretty much his entire family. So it gives me a great honor to stand before you and be able to present this tonight. And it reads, "The citation is presented to Aaron Brooks in recognition of your winning the 76-kilogram World Wrestling Championship title at the Cadet World Championship for ages 16 through 17, and with appreciation for your determination and commitment in becoming the top-ranked high school wrestler in the United States, and for serving as an inspiration to our community and our nation. Congratulations." Signed, Chris Van Hollen, United States Senator, on this day, the 26th of September, 2017. I wanted to say congratulations and thanks for making us all so proud.
One more round of applause. Okay. Next up are citizen comments. Donna's going to get the sheet for us. We'll preface, you have a sheet. There we go. No, it's okay. I know. I understand. Before we start, once again, to remind everyone who wishes to speak, I know we have a sign-up sheet, but if you didn't sign up and you want to speak, that's okay too. Just let us know, okay? But in this chamber, we are respectful to people. Please keep that in mind as you have comments. And let's try, if we can, stick to comments about the city of Hagerstown, because after all, that's what this meeting is about. So, first one up is Charlie Burkett.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
It's really cool that I had to come in tonight because it was really neat to see that we have in Hagerstown, a wrestler of,
World
that was
champion.
really cool to see. Yeah, world champion. First, some of you have seen a post that I had made on Facebook and dealing with some of the issues that we're having in Hagerstown. So I made a couple notes here. And I'm not here to bash the city of Hagerstown. I'm not here to bash you all. I'm not here to bash the city police. I respect your position as mayor and council, and I respect certainly what the police do every day. And I think that you all in the previous administration were definitely headed in the right direction. And me and my wife, we certainly have a lot of other things that we can do outside of Hagerstown, but we really make an effort to come down to Hagerstown. 2 Fridays ago, you would have seen us sitting out in front of 28 South, Bulls and Bears, the German restaurant, the Asian restaurant across the street, even Jerry's Subs, and the pretzel place. We have come downtown to visit the Washington County Playhouse, been to the theater, and so I really do, and we really try to be a part of Hagerstown and be a positive influence. But none of us can afford to continue to think that the problem that we're dealing with on the streets is just a bad perception of what's happening in Hagerstown anymore. It's what's really happening. And just on the way up from my deli up here, you know, you get a whiff of people smoking spice, marijuana. And it's not supposed to be your job to babysit Hagerstown residents or raise other people's kids, but it is your job to make sure Hagerstown residents and Hagerstown business owners can go about living a normal, crime-free life that will make others want to be in Hagerstown rather than somewhere else. It is your elected responsibility to figure this out and give a definitive answer that will correct the problem. Saying this, it's time for change. It's time to take seriously what is happening in our streets. Taken seriously means stop talking about the problems as if Hagerstown is just getting a bad rap, and take some action. Take swift action, show grace and mercy where needed, but show force and action when needed as well. Passively saying that our hands are tied is not a good answer. When you all were put in your seats by the electorate, you were put there by people who thought you had the answers, who thought you could figure this out. I've said all along that the way to fix this problem is not kicking 99% of the residents and landlords and business owners in the shins, but to hold those personally responsible that are causing the problems. This problem is not only affecting my restaurant business, but it's my ability to attract decent tenants. I have a $500,000 loan down here on Locust Street for properties, and I have about 3 or 4 empty units now because of the problem. This year I paid $1,400 in licensing fees, and I'm not the problem landlord. I have a broken window that faces Locust Street. I have outside maintenance issues that need to be corrected. That $1,400 could have fixed. Recently I had to repair a commode in one of my empty apartments, but I had to put that off so I could buy a $130 doorknob to keep vagrants out of my halls. This is how tight it is for me right now. Instead of sending me a letter as a landlord threatening my license because of a tenant playing their music too loud, write that tenant a citation. The bottom line, simple answer for me is the police have to keep stopping these people and telling them to move on and to keep moving. If they are inebriated, write a citation. If they are loitering, write a citation. If they're holding a sign asking for handouts, write a citation. You have to be on it, on it, on it. It'll be monotonous at first. It'll seem like a lost cause at first. I mean, ultimately, you and the police keep saying, call, call, call. Well, if I call, write a citation, citation, citation. Honestly, I stood right here along with others and warned you all years ago when you started the rental program what would happen when landlords could no longer rent to certain types of people. Now, instead of fighting these problems in people's homes, you're fighting them in the streets. Right now, this handful of people own you and us 100%. Finally, if you're going to continue to talk about the can'ts or what's the use, we all might as well throw up our hands and move. I get you're frustrated, we're frustrated. I get you're tired, we're tired. But it is time to dig a little deeper and clean our streets up. If you all think the fight is hopeless, what do you think good residents and business owners are going to think? You have to offer us hope. That is all most of us really want to hear, that there is hope for change. Telling me and others every reason why the problem can't be solved is not a good answer. That only serves to discourage the good while these idlers continue to run the show. And I would just like to say that for the past week since I made my post on Facebook, that I have seen a big difference. Somebody did tell me that it seems like the people are no longer hanging out down near my area, but have moved now to the area of Spickler Market and down here by the Washington County Playhouse. And honestly, again, it goes back to the police just seeing these people in places and telling them to move on. and that's just what we need to do. I appreciate your time, and thank you, El Shire, for coming down and talking to me, for the police chief, the captain, stopped down and talked to me. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Charlie. Next up, Jimmy Devine.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name's James Devine, Post Office Box 2217, Hagerstown, Maryland. At the past hearings, I've addressed the speed cameras for the school zones and the use of the speed radar by the city police to enforce the speeding on Downsville Pike behind South High for the safety of the children, which this council and the city police department has willfully failed to address. I have addressed the extreme noise of vehicles and motorcycles with exhaust systems that sound like chainsaws and lawnmowers and disrupt the calm and tranquility of the community, with the police chief saying he needs a decimal meter and does not have the manpower to address these issues. These are issues with the chief of police stated he has a duty, and I'll quote, to protect my citizens, my council, my mayor, everyone in the city. But as stated above, he has willfully failed to protect the citizens, council, mayor, everyone in the city by his non-actions in the matters stated above. If you notice in the last council meeting last month, there was 2 additional city police officers sitting in the council meeting. These officers, instead of being on foot patrol in the city to protect the citizens, council, mayor, everybody in the city, was sitting here in the city council meeting being paid and not protecting the citizens, council, mayor, everyone in the city. I feel that there is an unfounded fear and paranoid and anxiety with this chief in this community. The police station now looks like a checkpoint in Beirut, Lebanon. Big barriers everywhere, electric gates. I wonder where we'll start seeing the sandbags surround the police station with armed guards patrolling it. I feel the police chief came from the big city, and he brings an unfounded fear and paranoid with him from the city. And I went to the Officer Wright with the City Police Department Internal Affairs, and I asked him for an investigation for what I felt was the unfounded actions against the Chief of Police against me. I don't feel anything's being done. I feel that there should be a separate citizens committee set up, advisory committee or an overview committee of complaints against the police department, because now if you complain against the police department, you complain to them. And there's no overview by the citizens or anybody else to see what's going on. So I'd recommend that. Now, the different issue would be the president. He's a pathological liar, willing to say or do anything to make himself look good, a Republican Congress unable to govern. This is why Republicans should not be elected into the office. The Republicans want the Affordable Care defeated so billions of dollars could be used to give tax breaks to big corporations and the rich. A presidential election commission, which is a sham. A dangerous president threatened nuclear weapons, the start of which would kill millions of people, send radiation around this planet, cause a nuclear winter, and destroy life on this planet. This president has to be stopped by impeachment and votes. The president, when the facts are clear, is still fake news. A president that pits one person against another in this society, the immigrants against society, a president stating you can say Merry Christmas again and pits the religious community against society. A president stating patriotic views when he did everything he could to escape military service. A president selecting 27 lower court federal judges as of mid-July, 3 times Obama's total, double the total of Reagan, Bush 41, Clinton, and Bush 45 combined, destroying a judicial system from the inside. A president wanting to sign legislation made by lobbyists that would limit a cap of $250,000 for pain and suffering, disabilities, or medical malpractice. The president stating he could shoot someone in Times Square and still get votes and elected. This president is a madman and must be stopped by impeachment or votes. There's a lunatic in North Korea, a psychopath. This country has its own psychopath. And I feel it's just a sad situation. And going to the Republicans, that even the ones that represent this community, as far as Brett Wilson, Serafani, and Parrott, there was an exchange I made with them last year on the Domer law where they on alcohol. I told them they didn't go far enough because they should have it on a license where a person has the ability to buy alcohol. And they said they would lose income on that. And I was just astounded by that because they're putting money over a person's life. And I feel that Brett Wilson, he's running for a judgeship. If he didn't want to be a legislator for this community, then he shouldn't have run for it. He should just waited it out, run for the judgeship if he wanted it. But it's clear that he doesn't want to doesn't want to represent this community. I don't feel he should be reelected for this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, those are the only ones who were signed up to speak. Now, if anybody else wishes to speak, please step up to the podium and give us your name and address.
My name is Jason Fizioff. For now, I live at 52 Randolph Avenue, Hagerstown, Maryland. I only had a few suggestions, two suggestions really, but one of them is a big one. But first, I'd like to just thank you, City Council, because I made a suggestion before for cleaning up the bike lanes where there's a lot of debris in the bike lanes and could cause traffic accidents, and that was taken care of like promptly. And so, thank you. Not just thank you from me, but thank you from all the bike riders. One suggestion, I just want a real quick suggestion about the public events that we have around town. I was riding my bicycle through the fairgrounds the other day, and I saw a lot of people with their dogs in the little fenced-in part of, I guess that's a dog park.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to that one yet, because I don't have a dog. But I was thinking, you know, like for winter events, you know, dog park is great for winter events. That's my first suggestion. Now, this next suggestion, it might come as a little bit of like a, you know, you got to think about it for a long time. Might seem a little silly, but it's not. Okay, where do I start? I forgot the city council meeting was today, so I didn't write anything yet. But I've been talking to people for years about this. Where the old hospital was, I have just a little suggestion towards like what to do with the property. I'm not saying that, you know, my suggestion is like, you know, the best way to go, but I just want to put an idea out there to where other people could maybe improve or suggest similar or something. And part of the reason why I'm going to say this is because and I think City Council would be best to say this because one time I submitted a patent, and there was a little bit of a joke behind it, but I didn't have money to fund it myself because I'm poor. And they stole it, and I called it the Poo Stick, and then Lysol Ready Brush came out 4 months later. Factories produced it, and Lysol Ready Brush came out. But I called it the Poo Stick, and I had a whole advertising campaign already in motion, but I didn't have money to fund it. Okay, my suggestion for where the old hospital used to be, where I was born, where two of my children were born, is it sounds a little silly, but I'd like to call this proposal Dodgeball Mall. Okay? Dubai will take off with this if nobody close by will. And financiers will come from anywhere if they just get on point with what I'm saying. But, okay, community and activities go hand in hand. Community activities and business, as usual, like everywhere. Okay, I call this Dodgeball Mall. Now, at that property, its ideal location, traffic would never be a problem because, you know, dual highway is already right there. We got the parking deck. We got the parking lot out back. We could build a little skyscraper there. We could put business, a mall type of business, and community activities together. That's why I called it dodgeball, because I love dodgeball and nobody can coach it except me. And all I'm saying is, like, okay, if you put business and activities in the same location, you have a local spot. You have a local spot where community gets its name from, and it takes it to every community that's local. Every little small neighborhood has their own world champions, you know, like the wrestler. I have a lot to say about this, and I'd like to talk more about it, but I don't have very good transportation or communication. But as I've said before when I was here, my Gmail is jasonphysioc, PHYSIOC, @gmail.com. And that's probably the easiest way to communicate with me. But I would love to hear conversations started. It's not, I call a dodgeball mall like I called a poo stick before the Lysol Ready brush came out. Dubai will take off with it if nobody else does. We could be the first. Dodgeball mall. You can't coach it.
There you go. Thank you, Chief. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'd like to speak to you about the.
Name and address, please.
My name is Brett Fratiani. I live at 132 North Locust Street, right around the corner where the gangs have taken over. The police have been there. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 times a day, every day. This has got to end. And the thing of it is, they're all juveniles. So we can't really, I don't mean to be a smart ass about this, but you know, if they was over 18, I'd hit them. But I don't want to touch the kids. I'm afraid of getting in trouble over that. Now, they just today, already today, the cops have been there 3 times. Today, so far. They're little hoodlums. They're creating a nuisance. And they said this, they looked right at me and said, I was born there. I lived there for about 30 years. I moved to Florida, and then I moved back about 2.5 years ago. They have told me, this is no longer your block. This is my block now. We own this. They were there this evening. They're down there right now. And as soon as the cops come, they all splatter. They just dissipate. They run back through the little sidewalk, you know, the little alleyways between the houses, and they disappear. They run through the backyards, and they're gone. And as soon as the cops pull out, there they are again. They're all right back there. I've been trying to help the police. The drug problem down there is just, it's terrible. We got people down there, and I will sit here and tell these officers, I'll give them everybody. We got one guy down there, he's got 12 pit bulls. He's raising them to fight them. Okay? And then we got 3 or 4 of them on the street that are all, they're into opiates, the pills. I mean, my new nickname on the block is Cop Caller, and which I do. I'm not afraid to say I do. You know, we own 2 properties there, and actually we want to sell them because we want the hell out of that neighborhood. But we're not going to get anything for them because nobody will buy them. Nobody wants to live there. I mean, I'm almost afraid to live there myself. 2 nights ago, they were running down the street. One had an AK and the other one had a double barrel, and they were chasing each other down the street. Saturday, no, I'm sorry, that would have been Friday night. Saturday night, the cops showed up again, and as soon as they come down the street, all they do is, you could see them all handing off their guns, and they would take off down through the alleyway. And they've already threatened to kill me. And this is becoming a very serious problem. And the thing of it is the kids, they don't even live there. Norman, which I'm sure these gentlemen behind me know, he lives up on Antietam Street, and the other ones live down on Randolph, but they seem to think that they own this area of town. They was down there tonight writing all over the walls, putting their gang signs on the walls on the house on the corner of East Avenue and Locust, East Avenue and North Locust, of course. And this is, it's really becoming a problem, a very serious problem. Someone's going to get hurt. And I'm afraid it's going to be one of us older folks who live there that is going to end up hurt.
Could you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Could you get with Sergeant Knode and the chief and maybe have a conversation?
Oh, I believe he was the gentleman there the other night, wasn't? No. Was it you? It was the sergeant on duty. It was you? Okay.
It's probably better if you got with them individually and had a conversation.
I'll tell you what, they already call me a cop caller, so I'll turn every damn one of them in. I'm not afraid to. When I grew up there, it was a peaceful neighborhood.
Right.
I'd just like to note, one of your neighbors
Yes, sir.
had a lengthy conversation, and I promised him I also would speak to the chief and the sergeant tonight about the situation. I've been for a long time, and I just tell you that so you know that I appreciate what you're saying isn't just some song and dance and some crazy person getting up telling us how bad it is. I understand what your situation is.
Yes, sir.
And I would hope that with what Mr. Burkett said and with what you're saying, you're right in the exact same area, that we may be able to talk to our
Yes, sir.
police
He
about
lives right across the street from
some
me.
real targeting of that area, because I understand what's going on.
I mean, it's really bad.
Right. So if
It
you
is
talk to the
bad.
chief, we'll get.
I have no problem doing that. Okay, I just wanted to let the
Well, I
council
appreciate the
members know
information.
what's going on, you know. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate
Thank
the
you.
information. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Jason. Real fast, Jason.
Real fast.
What I was proposing about the Dodgeball Mall, the whole idea of it, you know, youth is a problem with what our neighbor was talking about. Youth is a problem, but what I'm proposing kind of unites a little bit of counsel with youth. Like I said, nobody can coach dodgeball but me.
All right.
And it would, I think it would be a very good idea to just push the community into something that they're gonna love.
Right. Thank you, Jason. Anybody else? Okay. City Administrator,
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Mr. Metzner?
You know, Mayor, I started practicing law in 1977, and one of the
It's
very
gonna be a
early-
history lesson.
one of the very early people I met, very early on, was a city police officer by the name of Harry Myers. And we've all kept in touch with Harry for forever. Every day we'd come into City Hall, Harry would be downstairs greeting everybody, always had a smile on his face. Never had anything but good things to say about anybody, and I know how devastated Harry was when Rick Good, his good friend, died. And I was shocked to pick up the newspaper today and see Harry's obit in the paper. And I just want to pass my regards to his family and friends who certainly going to miss Harry. He was a good man and a pleasant individual, and what we would always like to see in a police officer. He always had a smile and was a good man. That's all. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone that came here to speak this evening, Mr. Burkett and everyone else who came up to speak. I've been kind of talking about this until I'm blue in the face since I got elected, but Hagerstown has a drug problem, and which is causing a crime problem and causing a lot of the issues that we're seeing. But when I go out and talk about the drug problem and say we need to fund a treatment program and fund this, I get called a bleeding heart liberal and I get hate mail and all kinds of names. We're not gonna solve these problems until we start really solving the problems. And yes, we have a gang issue and we have a youth issue, but a lot of this is stemming from drugs. And the drug problem is fueling the mental illness issue, which is fueling the homeless problem and the violence problem. And we really have to start, as a community, coming together. So when we say we're trying to find treatment centers or find help, fund the Narcan program so people aren't dying, all of this ties together. And I hope that everyone can start to get to the point where we see that, where this isn't wasting tax dollars. This isn't me being a bleeding heart liberal trying to save the world. Like, this problem is infiltrating all of us. I'm a business owner. I see it. It's affecting our employees. It's affecting our downtown. It's affecting our homeless shelters. It's affecting everything. It's all tied together. And I recognize that we have a problem, a big problem with drugs, but also a big problem with youth. I recognize that, and I sympathize with what you have to deal with every day. I see it when I go downtown, but I started thinking today, and I brought some examples. So all we ever hear about all the time is how negative Hagerstown is, how awful it is, the pictures of people ODing on these websites, the pictures that people are posting of trash. So I went on Herald Mail's Facebook page for the last 3 days. And these were 5 articles about the negative, 5. Child struck by SUV at bus stop. Philadelphia man pleads guilty to Hagerstown slaying. Teens armed robbery case transferred to juvenile court. Hagerstown teen pleads guilty to indecent exposure. Man critically wounded in Hagerstown shooting. 5 articles was shared 463 times. In those same 3 days, we had these 7 positive articles. Chili cook-off funds to help Cumberland Valley breast cancer patients. Student standout, high school senior earns top honors in state tractor safety contest. Degrees increasing at Hagerstown Community College. Hagerstown Gathering celebrates recovering addicts. Comptroller's Hagerstown Call Center to open and will employ 12. Maryland's Theater Century Club gets look at expansion plans, and Sailor House to be transformed into office space and education center. 7 articles shared 8 times. So the negative articles were shared 58 more times than the positive. I get that there's negative, but all we're talking about is that. I mean, we're talking about a high school student who earned top honors, that our degrees are increasing, that there's employment being brought here, that we're transforming office space into an education center, and no one's talking about it. So I would like to challenge the community to, while we're working on fixing the negative, start bringing some light to this positive that we do. Because 7 articles shared 8 times, and 5 articles shared 463 tells you what everyone's talking about. You know, this coming Friday, we have a community cleanup for Main Street. We have Wind Down Friday coming up. The farmer's market is open Saturday. We have the Color Splash Saturday. There's a community prayer walk on October 5th. It's a Blessing to Be a Blessing feeds people downtown and constantly needs volunteers every Thursday. We have a community yard sale coming up, the dog costume parade. The Blossom School of Etiquette is hosting a workshop for teens at the library on October 14th. Let's start talking about these things and rallying our community to come out and do things, because the businesses can't advertise and can't flourish unless we're visiting them. These events that everyone wants more of aren't going to continue to survive unless people attend them. Look at Blues Fest. We need the community to be coming out and doing the things that we're offering, spending your money here, and then that negative, the 489 times it's talked about, maybe that'll start to decline and we can start being proud of our community while we're working on fixing these very serious issues. So,
Thank you.
that's all.
Mr. Corbin?
That's gonna be a tough act to follow there. Well said, Councilmember.
Thank you.
Just a couple quick comments to the folks that came out this evening. Thank you for your comments, always appreciate them. Mr. Burkett, I appreciate your investment in our community, in your business, as well as the other properties that you own. And hopefully, you know, going forward, we can come up with a plan to help tackle some of these issues, as Councilman Keller just identified as well. The what else do we have to speak this evening? Mr. Devine, always appreciate your comments. I can only speak for myself as one person on this body. I do not support speed cameras, so again, I appreciate that those are your feelings, but you wouldn't find any support from me on that front. Secondly, your attack on our chief and our police department are the remarks of a bitter and embarrassed old man. I appreciate you coming down here and speaking every month, but as Mr. Mayor had alluded to earlier, let's bring some positivity. Let's bring some answers to some of your concerns. I stand with my chief here, the Hagerstown Police Department. I appreciate all that he does for our community. And going forward, if you could again, please bring us some positivity, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Could I just make a quick reply to that? You're saying where you are, my name recognition is.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Mr. Usher.
First, I'd like to thank Charlie for taking the time out. I know I sort of just popped in at 2 o'clock on I don't know what day it was, Friday or something, or Thursday, and you know, we talked for about 2 hours on things that we both see. It's just the reality, you know, and you know, here's a bit of that perspective. You know, we talk about the need for a treatment center, and here's the reality. They found a treatment center. It's called Downtown Hagerstown. It's just a fact. The agencies and you know, property management that house individuals that need much more than what they're receiving. We can incarcerate those individuals every day of the week. We can take them to Meritus for the 24 hours they're there. They get put right back in downtown. They get moved out of an apartment for whatever reason. They get put in another apartment downtown. We have any number of agencies that overwhelm us, frankly, by growing their business, by courting, frankly, individuals from other jurisdictions and communities through those court systems to place individuals in downtown that need services that are well beyond what there's the ability to meet. It's just a reality. We see it. Any individual with half a brain, you know, can drive through town and see these issues. I've been saying for some time now, we need to figure out how to bring a balance to this issue. We have to. We have to figure out which property owners to address that aid in this degradation and this decline, and we have to enforce every rule that we have at our disposal to curb that. We have to figure out which agencies, frankly, out there providing these social services are with us and which could care less about the decline and the impact that it has on our core community. That's just things that have to happen. We cannot, as a city, sustain a successful tax base unless we address those issues with those parties that we have, frankly, as I've shared with Mr. Burkett and in this venue, limited authority over. And so we are up against the odds of entities that we don't have control over, and we need to figure out ways to ensure that these entities, these property owners, these individuals are held accountable to the community that we want, and not the actions that they want to live by, and the types of businesses, whether for profit or not for profit, that they want to grow, because they're not helping. They're just not. Yep.
Okay. For me, real quick, I know that Ms. Keller already mentioned Wind Down coming up Friday evening. It's also Thunder in the Square. I have a bunch of old cars, great-looking cars out there to come down and look at and walk around and enjoy. Please join us. Kicks off at 5:30, I believe. So come down, have fun, and enjoy downtown. With that, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, or to the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of minutes as presented to the mayor and council meetings held on August 8, 15, 22, and 29, all 2017.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Consent agenda,
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Approval of an ordinance, land management code amendments, automobile repair in the IMU zoning district.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to amend chapter 140 land management code of the city code. This amendment shall revise Article 4 zoning, Section Z, land use charge to permit automobile repair unit uses in the IMU industrial mixed-use district under certain stated performance standards. Upon the effective date of this ordinance, the newly updated land management code that includes this amendment and a parallel amendment to Article 5 proceeding at the same time as this amendment, if that amendment is adopted, shall be identified as the land management code version 3.2.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Approval of an ordinance, land management code amendments, amendment of simplified and minor plats under certain circumstances.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to amend chapter 140 land management code of the city code. This amendment shall revise Article 5 subdivision land development ordinance, Section A general provisions, subsection 3 application and interpretation, item D adjustments to recorded plats. This amendment shall create a process by which a simplified plat created to place non-conforming and/or non-compliant townhouse units on individual lots may be abandoned. Upon the effective date of this ordinance, the newly updated land management code that includes this amendment, and if it is adopted, a parallel amendment to Article 4 proceeding at the same time as this amendment, shall be identified as the land management code version 3.2.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Approval of the ordinance to quitclaim an alleyway adjacent to 115 North Prospect Street.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the approval of an ordinance making a determination that certain property and alleyway between number 115 and number 125 North Prospect Street at the Hagerstown Rescue Mission is no longer needed by the city of Hagerstown for a public purpose, and authorizing the execution of a quitclaim deed for the same.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of resolution, Police Academy Assistance Agreement with the City of Frederick.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with the city of Frederick outlining the assistance to be provided by the Hagerstown Police Department to the Frederick Police Academy from October 2 until approximately June 8 of 2018.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve a resolution, police candidate agreement with the city of Frederick.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with the city of Frederick to permit candidates for the Hagerstown Police Department to attend the Frederick Police Academy.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Urban Improvement Project memorandum of agreements with state agencies for the Maryland Theater Project and Wash County BOE BISFA project.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve entry into a memorandum of agreements with the Maryland Historical Trust and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. The MOAs are required for anticipated state grant funding to be utilized for the Maryland Theater and Washington County Board of Education portion of the Urban Improvement Project. Each draft MOU document is attached, and delivery of final versions from the state of Maryland is pending.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. DCED, Down Payment Assistance Programs, allocation of economic redevelopment funding for state grant funding match.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve allocation of $50,000 from the Economic Redevelopment Fund for the city's down payment assistance programs. This funding will serve as a required match to the $50,000 Maryland Community Legacy Grant awarded for the City Center Downtown Payment Program and the Citywide Down Payment Program. Economic redevelopment funding is available in the fiscal year 18 budget and sourced from the sale of 278 South Prospect Street.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of noise ordinance exemption, High Rock Crumpy's Donut Drop.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and council approve an exemption from the city of Hagerstown's noise ordinance under section 155-5 of the code of the city of Hagerstown for High Rock Crumpy's Donut Drop on December 31st, 2017.
Second.
Discussion,
Mr. Mayor, we heard a fair amount of things appropriately about some of the problems we have in our city, but I gotta tell you, we got Crumpy's Donuts.
true that.
Second that.
True that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve of a federal JAG application, 2017 H3350-MD-DJ.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a federal JAG application. The Hagerstown Police Department received a federal JAG application 2017H3350-MD-DJ in the amount of $33,661. The city of Hagerstown will receive $21,098, and the remaining $12,563 will be available to the Washington County Sheriff's Department office. Excuse me.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of contract with EMH Environmental, Inc.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move the mayor and city council approve the contract with EMH Environmental, Inc. for the replacement of the low-service pumps at the R.C. Wilson plant and the finished water pumps at pump station number 4 and other improvements described in the advertisement for bids in the amount of $1,558,000 $540. Funding for this project is a combination of MDE grant and water fund CIP funds.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of contract with Carl Belt, Inc. as general contractor.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the contract with Carl Belt, Inc. for the purchase and installation of 4 tank mixing systems at the West End, Orchard Hills, Mack, and Smithsburg tanks and other improvements described in the advertisement for bids in the amount of $409,000. Funding for this project is a combination of MDE grant, MDE loan, and water CIP funds.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of contract for trash and recycling collection services.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of contract number 17-RR-12 with Waste Management of Pennsylvania for curbside collection of residential trash, recyclables, and yard waste. This 3-year contract will commence January 1, 2018, and includes an option for future mayor and council consideration of a 3-year extension. Based on the attached chart, the annual fee is $1,885,080 for the residential collection and $431,892 for trash disposal, and $69,300 for yard waste processing. This contract continues the city's recycling program, providing once-a-week single-stream recycling collection, once-a-week trash collection, twice a week in the city center Zone F, and once-a-week yard waste collection. The Recycle Bank Incentive Program will be discontinued. In addition to the above residential services, I further move to approve as part of contract number 17RR12, the collection of commercial single-stream recycling and trash from small solid waste generators primarily in the city center. The annual fee is $10,522.80. I further move to approve ad alternative number 3, annual electronics recycling event in the amount of $16,696, and the first event will be held Saturday, November 18, 2017 at Municipal Stadium. Effective January 1, 2018, residential rates will increase $8 per quarter to $47 per quarter to cover the cost of the contract and the electronics event.
Second.
Discussion?
Real quick, I don't want to throw a hiccup into this or anything, being that we're down 2 members at the moment. We had some good discussions last week about possibilities of, with Zone F, utilizing the alleyways. I don't think anyone had any disagreement about extending the existing services of waste management. I just want to make sure that this approval doesn't put that on the back burner per se.
And that we aren't just, letting that slip under.
Correct.
Under the radar.
I'm looking at, there's still a general consensus that we're still going to have that discussion in the,
Yes,
in
and
the
I
near
believe
future.
Councilman Metzner wanted to have a tour even, so we will make sure that we do that and continue that conversation,
And nothing you're approving tonight will prevent that.
prevent it from happening.
Is there a deadline of when we have to let them know about Zone F?
I think they need about 2 months, 2 to 3 months to be able to purchase the vehicle.
sometime in October.
So, yeah, it'd be
Yes.
good if we could decide in
Okay.
October.
So, yeah, as long as we can meet in the next couple of weeks and at least hash that out.
But also, they also made it clear that we could make that decision 6 months into the contract if we wanted to. They're just gonna need
You could, they
60
just
to
need
90 days
Right,
lead
in
time.
order to
Correct.
implement it.
Correct.
Right, understand,
Right.
understand.
The question I have there, Rodney, it just seemed a little strange that we're starting a contract January 1, but the first event under the January 1 contract is in November.
Yeah, that's correct.
So we're taking the funds from,
We budgeted this year to have
Oh,
electronics
okay.
recycling. It's a pretty popular event.
you just
so-
answered my question. It's this year's budget, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
Again, just that we have, because in the
Yes.
near future, not the next 6 months.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Okay.
have no problems with that.
All right, we start throwing out
All in
6 months
favor?
there.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And with that, thank you very much. We're adjourned.